All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video from that dude. I want to give you another little video of some tips that I've put together. I watched like 30 to 40 of those videos. A lot of them are repetitive. Some have some different pieces of advice here and there that I wanted to share. And I also have some things that are directly connected to our jobs and roles here at My Life Matters that they're not going to know and be able to help you with. So as we desire to get more productive, to get more things done and use our calendar better to suit us better, which I hope that this becomes a thing that empowers us and actually sets us free to do less time working and get more things done. And it also frees us to accomplish things that we want to get done in life that if we stay so busy working here that we don't get to do the things that we typically want to do. We don't care for ourselves, won't go walking or exercising. And I want us to be able to make time for those kinds of things. So in getting organized and pushing this direction, I think one of the most helpful things for me starting off is to make a to-do list of everything that needs to get done. When I get overwhelmed, it's good to clear my radar and say, look, everything that I've got on my mind, every little mundane thing, every big thing, the things that I have to do for my job, let's make a to-do list and write all of those things down. It helps me to free my mind and not be overwhelmed, and I just put everything on one little list and go, these are the things that I have on my radar. Now I can make a plan to get those things done and not let them be floating. And because if I don't write them down, it's always a couple of things that are on my radar that just don't come to the top, and so they just always fall away. And even if I need to get them done, I just don't take care of it. And so make a list of all those little things, and they can be even the simplest things. I need to fix this one little piece in the game room. I had that on my radar for like 3 or 4 weeks, and I didn't do it because I hadn't wrote it down, and it was always just one more of those little things. And when I got organized, if you go to the game room, the other sets of lights are now up. I finally got it done. Include every little mundane thing that you want to do. Think about, as you process this list, what do I have to do? What are everything that I have to get done, write it down. And then after you make that list, go back through and give each of those jobs a time frame that you think it's going to take, and write all those down. Second, I want you to make a list of jobs that you want to accomplish. There are always things here in this ministry that we don't get done because we've got so many things to get done, they're just not happening. So go back through and make a list of things that you want to accomplish. Man, I would love to go deeper on this. I would love to accomplish this thing. Family fun nights, that's been on my radar for like 2 years now, and I'm finally doing it because I've gotten a little bit organized and I'm working towards future plans. So think about things that you want to get done and make a list of those kinds of things, and write those things down. Think, what do I want to do? That's what you can process. Third, after you've made those 2 lists, go back and get your job description. The job description exists for a reason. That should be the thing that's directing what you're doing with your time. It is a really, really helpful tool if you learn how to use it and spend time with it. Grab that job description, read through it, spend some time doing these things, and then make a list, another list, right? What's the list you're going to make? First, you're going to write down things that you should be doing every single week. Make a list from that job description. Every single week I should be doing ... and then write that list down. Then make a list of things you should be doing bi-weekly, every other week. I should be doing this thing every other week. Make another list. What are things that I should be doing monthly? Write those things down. And then lastly, what are things that I should be doing periodically? The things that should pop up a few times a year. Write those things down. Make that list. It's going to be super helpful. If we think about the job description as a whole and all that we need to do, it can be overwhelming. But if we spend time with it, break it down, process through it, and write things down, it becomes much more accessible and helpful, and it will be a valuable tool. A lot of us are like, what should I be doing? Well, go to your job description. That job description is designed for that, to give you direction. We don't want to micromanage you. We want you to be able to learn how to do this on your own and to be free in ministry and press forward. Honestly, Tim and I don't have time to micromanage us, and so my leaning in the past has been I want to micromanage everybody, but I've also learned and realized the importance that we all need to understand the concept of our job, to understand the direction of our job, and then to be able to work freely from somebody micromanaging us, and the job description empowers us to do that. All right, the next thing I think we should do is go back and make a list of all the rocks in the river, the things that are not going to change, the things that have to get done, the things that are set times. What kinds of things are those? Think about staff meetings, they never change. Think about club times, they never change. Then think about things that you should have as rocks in the river that we don't have as rocks in the river. Somebody the other week, maybe Mary Lou, mentioned, I'm going to start blocking a time every Monday to prep for Tuesday club. Maybe you want to put in there, I want to block a time. I'm always running behind prepping for this thing. Well, block a time the day before and put that in there that I'm going to do this every single day. One thing that I did in the past that I do a little bit now but not as often was I used schedulebuilder.org and I went in and I made this sheet right here that had all of my rocks in the river. So when I went to go to make my plan for the week, these were the things that do not change. And so in here I have all of the pink things were things that were directly related to work, and the green things actually were church for me. These are things that will never change on my calendar, so when I go to make my weekly plan, these things are already in there, and I can work around them and not forget about them. This was really, really, really helpful for me when I first started doing this time blocking, and this, as Tim calls it, the use calendar. And so I just want to recommend setting that up. Put your rocks in the river down and make sure you have them. Next thing, I looked at another video and had a really helpful tip that I hadn't thought about before. But the guy recommended basically think about your personal schedule. When do you have the most energy? When is your brain the most clear? If your brain is super clear, when you get to work at 8 a.m. or 8:30, 9, if your brain is clear at those times, come in then and knock out the job to take that brain power, right? And then if you hit that lunch lag, that time around lunch where, you're not as clear, you're not as sharp, plan in those times, the things that, I need to spend 30 minutes cleaning the blue room, I need to clean up my office, I need to do whatever the little tasks are that don't take that brain power, plan around those times. Hadn't thought about this much, but it seemed pretty helpful. And one of the other guys along the same lines basically said, that he did work out in the morning, but he moved that time to 3 to 4, 5 o'clock, and that's when he works out every day because that's the time that he would hit that brain lag, and it would not absorb his mornings when his brain was ready to roll. And so I thought it was pretty helpful advice. I never processed that before, to be honest. All right, next is we should be working our calendars 4 to 6 weeks out. A lot of us are not thinking that far ahead, and if we are never thinking 4 to 6 weeks out, what it tells me is that we are not getting the big picture things done in our job. If we're only working the week, we are getting the small picture things done. We're getting clubs accomplished. We're getting certain meetings done that are directly related to our clubs. But if we're not processing 4 to 6 weeks out, it's a red flag to me that we're not thinking big picture, and we're not thinking expansion. And we're not thinking about meeting the long-term needs of each individual club even. And so if I'm only working to get the volunteers that I need, the bare minimum volunteers that I need, it's going to always be a big part of my job. But if I start thinking 4 to 6 weeks out, I start thinking networking, collaborative community strategy, if I'm thinking those things a long time out, then I am able to think long-term. I don't have to I don't have to stay in that mindset of I just need this bare minimum to accomplish club. But as part of club, when we get back to normal, I don't want to say I need 15 volunteers to stay at this number. I'm looking at, I want to hit 75% of my kids in the school, so I need 50 volunteers. So I want us to keep that number in mind so we start thinking 4 to 6 weeks out and for our networking and collaborative community strategy purposes. And so if you're never thinking 4 to 6 weeks out, it's a problem. It really is a problem. Now, at the same time, don't be overwhelmed by that. I'm not looking for a use calendar that is completely full 6 weeks from now. I don't want to know all the details of your day 6 weeks from now. So this is my calendar for next week, and so you see that I'm gonna have tons of details in there. I've got a few of my rocks in the river written down, but one of my goals right there is I want to take a volunteer and get coffee with them, have a little meeting, handful of caramels, whatever. So on my radar, as I'm looking a week in advance, I'm going, I need to connect with somebody that is a volunteer because I need to keep that relationship going. So I'm thinking long term, and so I need to have some of the volunteer that I'm not regularly meeting with or don't have a regular relationship with. There's a handful of people that I could easily get coffee with, but those are people I already have the relationship with. What volunteers are the ones that are might fall away, that we might not have that relationship with, that I need to go and pursue and do it that way. Also, I have on the other page, I'm thinking of a couple different people I need to network with that have a lot of people under them or around them that would be good resources. So I was like, I need to find somebody for next week that I can connect with that can be a potential person that leads me to other volunteers. So think 4 to 6 weeks out. Specifically for me, I'm always thinking that direction of collaborative community strategy. But also 4 to 6 weeks out, it helps you prep for the personal care stuff at the same time. And so 4 to 6 weeks out, be thinking that direction. Man, so a lot of the videos that you recommend, they're always recommending some kind of app. Man, take that mess with a grain of salt. Those people are getting paid to recommend all those little apps that are going to help you out. Don't go try to find every app. Don't try to do every app that is in a little video that you watch. My recommendation for apps are when you have a reoccurring problem, something that's always happening that you need a solution for, that's when you go looking for an app. Otherwise, personally, I think that if you start downloading all the apps that people recommend to do this and to do that, what you end up doing is trying to find a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. So wait until you have a problem, something that's reoccurring. The one that I hear the most is you don't know how to manage the time or don't know how to estimate time of a job, then there's a few apps for that. But don't go looking for the app until you know what the problem is. Otherwise, you'll always be trying to find something new and wasting a lot of time doing that. All right, get into a couple last wrap-up things. I think at the end of every day, we should do setup for the next day. And so at the end of the day, I should take, yesterday, Wednesday, I look and I see that this is a job that I didn't get accomplished. So I have my to-do list right there, and I take a different color pen on mine, and I realize, man, you know what? I didn't call Drew. So today, I need to make time to plan to call Drew. I did not finish the training prep. And I actually did not make this video fully that I'm making right now. That was part of yesterday's agenda, and I'm doing it first thing this morning. And so I go back and look at what I didn't do. The main reason I didn't get these 3 jobs finished up is because I had a unplanned meeting with somebody that came in to be a potential volunteer, and I spent a lot of time talking to that person. It was a great conversation. Don't mind the interruption. I'm not worried that I didn't get my entire day done, but what it does is help shape the next few days that are there. At the same time, when you're looking at your week, at the beginning of the week, if every little spot is not filled in, that is not a big deal. I'm not looking for everything to be lined up. I do want to show you, in this video that I sent you earlier, he gives you this version of the calendar. If you look at some of the other ones that he put up there, I think they're super helpful. He's filling his calendar out, and he's given time frames for different spots and different jobs to do. One super helpful thing for me is I try to keep a running list that is a to-do list. I've got a section here for My Life Matters, a section here for church, and a section here for my personal life. These are ongoing to-do things I need to do. When something pops up, I'll write it down. I can write down the time frame that it needs to take to do that. And then when I hit a day and I've got a meeting here, empty space here, a meeting here, then I go back to that to-do list and I start filling those time blocks in with the jobs that I have. And so those things can be the flexible things after I put my rocks in the river down. And that's been super helpful for me, is keeping this ongoing to-do list. It's a little bit different than the other to-do list that I talked about in the beginning. That other to-do list is when you're pulling everything together to get organized to be more effective. You think about just clearing your radar. This ongoing to-do list is something that I just keep in the very front page of my notebook, and as I finish a job, I get to erase it and move on and get to the next jobs. Let me go back to my notes right here. So at the end of every day, you're setting up for the next day. One of the other parts that somebody else recommended in the video that I struggle with, that I think is fantastic advice that I want to do, and I'm not saying I'm an expert at it, I'm not, is they call it he called it clear to neutral. So at the end of every day, you clear your workspace, you get all the little jobs done. If you've got stuff that's out there that needs to be cleaned up, go clean those things up. At the end of the day, those are tasks that are easy to do. Those are tasks that don't take your brain power, so when you're tired at the end of the day, you don't have to worry about a job that takes super concentrated thought. And so clear to neutral, get your workspace prepped for the next day. You're already looking at your next day and what needs to happen the next day. And so when you come in the morning, instead of going, all right, what do I need to accomplish today? You already know. You can jump right in when you're super fresh, ready to roll. And so do that. Now, the schedule that I'm doing is the schedule that this is how I've set mine up. I've got, on my notebook, I've got the full week, and I've got a few weeks planned out in my notebook. This is what it looks like for me. I'm not expecting yours to look like mine. I'm not worried about that part. But one thing that we are going to do is I want you to submit this and turn in what you're going to do for the week. It needs to be detailed, not just like one thing for the entire day. I want you to set goals up, set up, what's going to happen to accomplish our long-term goals here at My Life Matters. So give more details. Our schedules are lacking details, so put more of those in. Also want to shift, and for a few weeks at least, and I'll talk about this on staff meeting on Monday, is I want you to also give me at the end of the week what you accomplished. So compare your schedule from the beginning of the week to the end of the week. Also write down things that you actually did accomplish. And so like today, for instance, or yesterday, I'll pull that one up. I circled the things that I did not actually do. But what I can do is then I'll pull out a different color marker because that's worked for me. So I met with New Vol, right? So I put that down there, and so, why did I not accomplish what I set out to accomplish that day, right? This helps me know that I'm not wasting time, but I actually was getting something done. So if you get to the end of the day and you're like, I didn't do this, didn't do this, didn't do this, why didn't you get those things done? Ask that tough question. I spent 30 minutes in the hallway talking to somebody, took an hour and a half lunch break because I was chatting about things that don't really matter. Man, write those things down and start to process your schedule and why you're not getting done all that you want to get done. Be honest in your attempt to fine-tune your schedule and to be honest about what you're getting done and not getting done, because that is what's going to lead you to being more productive with your time, which ultimately leads to you actually having to do less hours to accomplish your purposes. My goal is not that you work more, is that we work more effective and have more freedom to do the things that we want to do with our life, because we're all dedicated to this mission that we have. And so that's the direction we're headed now. That's a little bit of advice. If you have any individual question with this, let me know. Let Tim know. We'd be glad to sit down with you and work through this schedule to help you figure it out, to work through the job description, help you figure these things out. I want us to be free to pursue the Lord, to pursue the ministry that's in front of us, because we have a great mission and vision, and we have great things that we're going to be done. It is difficult in this current season to figure out exactly, but honestly, I think that it's going to be a blessing in the long run, because it's going to focus us to focus on long-term plans. It's going to force us to focus on long-term plans and not just what's right in front of us. And that is where we're going to find expansion and major depth in the ministry that we have. So if you got questions, hit me up. Let me know. Looking forward to being more productive with you, because I am struggling with this myself. Love you guys.